What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the ZayMoolaSportsPodcast. I'm your host, Isaiah, and we are live, y'all. And tonight, I'm here to give y'all my first 2025 NBA mock draft. So, without further ado, let's get straight into it, man. I hope everyone is doing well on this Tuesday night. And all right, y'all. So, with the first pick, the Dallas Mavericks are on the clock. And y'all, I cannot believe that the Mavericks won the draft lottery. I'm probably going to do a video about this later, so I'll discuss it more then. But y'all, the Mavs only had a 1.8% chance of winning the lottery, and they won it. I mean, let's be honest. Yes, it did seem a little fishy. It did seem like Adam Silver and the NBA might have rigged the draft for them, y'all, so that way they could be gifted Cooper Flag, because we all know the Cooper Flag. He is the best player in this draft class. He is a generational player, man. He's a great two-way star, y'all. He has tremendous athleticism and length. He's a really good finisher. Now, I think he needs to work on some things in terms of his shot creating ability, but I mean, he has everything you want a prototypical small slash power forward to have, and he's going to go right along, y'all, pair really well with Anthony Davis and Derek Lively and PJ Washington and the rest of the crew down there in Dallas. So yeah, Cooper Flag is going to be the number one overall pick. Again, y'all, I still cannot believe the Mavericks were just gifted him. Literally, I mean, 3 months ago, they traded away a generation. 3 months later, they've been gifted the number one overall pick so they could take another generational player in Cooper Flag. We have the San Antonio Spurs on the clock. And this is a very interesting pick because the Spurs have a pretty good roster. They have a pretty deep roster as well. But y'all, I think they need to take the best player available. And to me, the next best player in this draft class is Dylan Harper. Now, I know some of y'all are probably going to say, well, they have Stephon Castle. They traded for De'Aaron Fox back in February. So I know they have a logjam at the guard position. But y'all, Dylan Harper, though, gives them tremendous size at the guard position. He's 6'6", has about a 6'9" wingspan. He's a tremendous scorer. He's very crafty at getting to the rim and finishing. He's a very good playmaker. And y'all, I think they would be able to have a three-guard lineup of him, De'Aaron Fox, and Stephon Castle, especially when you consider the fact that De'Aaron Fox is about 6'3". You have Stephon Castle, who's about 6'6", and then you have Dylan Harper, who's also 6'6". So they will have really good size out there on the perimeter. And yeah, I just think he's too good of a player to pass up. Again, I know they have really good guards already, y'all. But I mean, I was kind of shocked that the Spurs even got the second overall pick. I thought they were probably going to be in the 5 to 8 range. So the fact that they got the second overall pick, they cannot pass up a talent like Dylan Harper. So that's who I have them selecting. And if y'all see me looking down at my phones because I've already have these picks, I'm looking down at the picks from what I did earlier. All right, y'all, with the third pick, the Philadelphia 76ers are on the clock. And the Sixers, man, this is exactly what they needed. I mean, because their future looked really bleak, y'all. I mean, Joel Embiid, he is just so injury prone. We don't know if this man is ever going to be healthy again the rest of his career. Paul George is going to be 35 next month, and we don't know what his NBA career looks like, right? The future of it, because although I really love Paul George, he's one of my favorite players of the 2010s, y'all. I mean, let's be honest, this past season was not his best work. Now, I know he was dealing with a shoulder injury, but even when he was healthy, Paul George has not looked that fantastic. The good news for the Sixers is that they have two really good high-level scoring guards in Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain. We know Tyrese Maxey is one of the best and most electrifying scoring guards in the NBA. Jared McCain was having a really good rookie season until he broke his wrist. So I like the guards that they have in place, y'all, but they really need help at that front court, particularly the small forward spot, And when you look at Ace Bailey, y'all, you talking about a guy, I know it has him listed at 6'10". He's really about 6'7", but he's still pretty tall. So he's 6'7". He has a long wingspan, about 7'1" wingspan, y'all. You're talking about a guy that is a tough shot taker, but a tough shot maker. Now, he definitely needs to improve his shot selection, and he also needs to improve his passing ability, because Ace Bailey, y'all, barely averaging assists per game this past season for the Worker Scarlet Knights. So he needs to become a better passer, needs to become a better playmaker. But you're talking about a guy that would fit very well alongside Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain. I think the Sixers definitely need to take him. I can see them also being in love with Trey Johnson, because we know Trey Johnson is a prolific scorer as well. Maybe they can say, well, hey, we add Trey Johnson to Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain. Well, now we have one of the best three guard trios in the NBA. But no, I don't think they need to go that route, y'all. So I had them taking Ace Bailey, a guy that, again, will give them tremendous size and scoring the that wing. And we cannot trust Paul George. We don't know what his looks like. So I have them selecting Ace Bailey, y'all. With the fourth pick, the Charlotte Hornets are on the clock. And the Hornets, man, obviously they have LaMelo Ball, they have Brandon Miller, and they have Mark Williams, a guy that I wish was on my Los Angeles Lakers. But I digress, y'all. So I like the pieces that the Hornets have in place. But I think it's time for them, y'all, to add some defense and toughness to this team. And I had them selecting VJ Edgecombe, guard out of Baylor, man. VJ Edgecombe is one of my favorite players in this draft class. I'm not going to lie. I'm a big fan of VJ Edgecombe. My pro comparison for him is Victor Oladipo. When you turn in terms of looking at his athleticism, his defense, his prolific scoring ability, y'all. And then the biggest thing I like about VJ Edgecombe is his toughness and his basketball IQ. Those are things that you cannot teach, y'all. You could teach shooting, you could teach defense, you could teach playmaking, but you cannot teach defense and you cannot teach basketball IQ. And man, you cannot teach toughness, y'all. You cannot teach basketball IQ. And he's a very tough player. He has a very high basketball IQ. And I think he would be a perfect fit next to LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller. Y'all, when you look at the Charlotte Hornets, man, they need more defense on this team. They got guys that can score, Trey Mann, again, LaMelo, Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges as well. They need guys that can play defense, that are tough, that are gritty, and that are physical. VJ Edgecombe will be that guy. So, yeah, this will be a tremendous pick for the Charlotte Hornets, y'all. With the 5th pick, we have the Utah Jazz on the clock, and I know a lot of Jazz fans are upset because they wanted to get the number 1 overall pick so they could select Cooper Flag. But Jazz fans, hey, don't worry, because I have y'all selecting Trey Johnson, guard out of Texas. And I know the Jazz have a plethora of guards on their roster. I mean, they got Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson, Isaiah Collier, Keontae George. But, y'all, I honestly think Trey Johnson will be better than all those guys I just mentioned, because you're talking about a guy that's 6'6" at the shooting guard position. I think he is the best scorer in this draft class, man. I mean, this is a guy, y'all, that could just flat out get buckets. He's very crafty with the ball in his hands, and he is an elite shooter. I mean, this dude shot 43% from 3 this past season for the Texas Longhorns. He also shot 87% from the free throw line, which is an indication, y'all, that he's a really good shooter. Because let me tell y'all this. If a guy shoots a really high percentage from 3, but he shoots a low percentage from the free throw line, that means he's not a good shooter. But if a guy shoots a very high percentage from the free throw line and from the 3-point line, y'all, that means he is a really good shooter. So Trey Johnson, he's an elite scorer. He's an elite shooter. He has really good size at the shooting guard position. And I think, y'all, he would be a good fit next to Isaiah Collier, because I think Isaiah Collier can become the point guard of the future for the Utah Jazz. But I look at that shooting guard position, I'm like, yeah, you got Keontae George, but Keontae George, he's not the most efficient player. Colin Sexton, Colin Sexton is good, but I'm not going to let Colin Sexton stop me from selecting Trey Johnson, y'all. I really think Trey Johnson is going to become a 25-point-per-game scorer in the NBA. So I don't think the Jazz can pass him up. Again, I know they have a ton of guards on their team, but Trey Johnson is just too good of a talent to pass up on, and I think he would be a really good fit for them. So, yeah, I like them to select Trey Johnson. All right, y'all, with this 6th pick, we have the Washington Wizards on the clock. And kind of similarly to Utah Jazz fans, a lot of Wizards fans were hoping that they would get the number 1 overall pick so they could select Cooper Flag. But, y'all, when you look at this Wizards team right now, I mean, it's kind of a mess because they have a lot of young players. You have guys like Jordan Poole. You still got, not Kyle Kuzma, but you got like Chris Middleton. You got Alex Sarr. You got Bub Carrington. You got Keyshawn George. But then you got some, older players in there. Like a Marcus Smart, like a Chris Middleton. Sorry, I might have already said his name. Like those type of guys, that really doesn't fit with the current timeline of this team. But I think the biggest need, y'all, for this Wizards team is a point guard. Listen, I like Bub Carrington, but I think he's more of a 2 guard. I don't think he's a true number 1 point guard. So with that being said, y'all, I had them selecting Kasparas Yakusonis, point guard out of Illinois, man. This is a guy, y'all, that has really good size. Y'all gonna hear me say this about a lot of these guys, but he has really good size at the point guard position, standing 6 feet 6 at the PG position, y'all. He's a very good ball handler, a really good passer. I think he's the best passer in this draft class, and he has a high basketball IQ. Now, he really needs to improve his 3-point shooting, man. He only shot about 33% this past season. And obviously in the NBA, that's not going to cut it, because if you're going to be a starting point guard in the NBA, especially a good one, you need to at least be, I would say, like a 35, 36% three-point shooter, really better than that. But as long as you can be like a 35, 36% three-point shooter, you should be able to have some success as a point guard in the NBA. But yeah, I really like Kasparas a lot. Again, big guard, really good playmaker. I know some people say he reminds them of Killian Hayes. And I know when we hear that name, we're like, we hope he's not Killian Hayes, because we know Killian Hayes is one of the worst players probably in NBA history. I mean, seriously, his field goal percentage, his 3-point percentage is some of the worst in NBA history, y'all. So we're hoping that Kasparas is not like that. I actually think he has more shooting touch, though, than Killian Hayes did coming out of France. So, yeah, I like Caceres a lot. And I think, again, you look at the Washington Mystics, man, they just need to find that point guard of the future. When they had John Wall, we saw all the success they had with him. So they're hoping that Caceres can come in and become their point guard of the future. All right, y'all, with the 7th pick, we have the New Orleans Pelicans on the clock. And y'all, I really love this pick for the Pelicans. When I was doing this, I was like, yeah, this would be a home run pick for them, y'all, because the Pelicans have a really good bunch of wings on their team. You know, Zion, Herb Jones, Bruce Brown. So I really like the wings that they have on this team, y'all. Trey Murphy as well. Let me not forget about him. But they need help at that guard position. Listen, DeJounte Murray, he tore his Achilles in January, so he's going to be out at least until next January, maybe even longer. And then CJ McCollum, y'all, I mean, he's getting longer than two. He's going to be 34 in September, I believe. So they need to add some youth, some playmaking, and some shot creation in this backcourt, y'all. And I have them selecting Jeremiah Fears, point guard out of Oklahoma. Now, I know he's a little undersized. He's only 6'4", and some people will say, well, the Pelicans, they really value size on their team, because you look at a lot of the Pelicans players, y'all, they're like 6'6", 6'7", 6'8". But I think they need to add a guy in Jeremiah Fears, y'all, that could come in day one and be their starting point guard. I mean, he is very good at running the pick and roll game, and I think that would be a plus to have him alongside Zion and Yves Missi. He could throw them lobs and alley-oops. That would be great. And then, y'all, he could come in and be a bucket for them. And we know the Pelicans do need some more scoring from their backcourt. Again, like I said, DeJounte, he's going to be out at least until next January. CJ McCollum is getting older, so they really need to add some playmaking and shot creation in this backcourt, and they will get the best of both worlds with Jeremiah Fears, y'all. Do not let his size fool you, man. He plays bigger than his size. This is a guy that played on a pretty mediocre Oklahoma team, and he still performed extremely well. So just imagine what he's going to do if he gets drafted by the Pelicans, a team that has a lot of shooting and a lot of athleticism. Yeah, I think Jeremiah Fears got a really good career for them. So I like Jeremiah Fears going to the New Orleans Pelicans, y'all. With the 8th pick, the Brooklyn Nets are on the clock, y'all. And this was another interesting team for me. I thought the Utah Jazz was kind of interesting because of all the guards they had, y'all. But I think when you look at the Brooklyn Nets, they're a very interesting team, because when you look at the players that are on the board, none of these are probably players you would say are guys that they absolutely need, because they have Nick Claxton at center, they have Cam Thomas at shooting guard, they have Cam Johnson at power forward, they got D'Lo, and I know D'Lo's not the best guy. I know he's not the best player in the world, but they got D'Lo, at the point guard position. But y'all, when I was going through this, I was like, I think Derek Queen would be a really good fit for the Brooklyn Nets, because you have a guy, Nick Claxton, who's a rim runner. He's a shot blocker. He's one of the best defensive centers in the NBA. But what did they need, y'all? They need a guy that can space the floor, that can provide some shooting and some athleticism and some ball handling in that front court next to Nick Claxton. And Derek Queen, y'all, is one of the most intriguing players in this draft class, because he moves extremely well for a guy his size. He's 6'10", 245 pounds, but he moves like he's 6'2", about 150. Y'all. I mean, he is very quick on his feet. He is a very good ball handler. He's a guy that can actually initiate offense and run the team for your offense, which is a bonus, considering that he's a power forward. He's a 6'10" player. Normally, players of his size, y'all, are not able to run and initiate the offense, but he does this at a pretty high level. And then, y'all, I mean, he's a really good shooter. He has a low post game. I mean, Derek Queen is a total package offensively. Now, defensively, that's where he's going to have his trouble, because he's not quick on his feet defensively. He's a pretty poor shot blocker. But again, you have Nick Claxton to do that. Nick Claxton, he's a really good shot blocker. He's a really good rebounder. So really, you would need Derek Queen, y'all, to come in and kind of be Nikola Jokic. Now, I'm not saying he's going to become an MVP type player the way Nikola Jokic has become, but Derek Queen can absolutely become a 20 to 25 point per game scorer in the NBA because of all the skills that he has in his tool bag, y'all. So, yeah, I think this would be a really good fit for the Brooklyn Nets. I also can see them maybe thinking about taking Asa Newell, adding him alongside Nick Claxton. But the reason I took Derek Queen over him, y'all, for the Nets is because I think Derek Queen, his shooting and his shot creation is better than Asa Newell. And I think that's really what the Brooklyn Nets need, because if they would take a guy like Asa Newell, well, now you're going to have kind of a logjam in that front court of a bunch of guys that are really good defenders, that are very athletic, but you don't have a ton of shooting. So you add Derek Queen, you inject some shooting and some shot creation to your front court. So I really like that for them, man. Hopefully I'm not going too fast for y'all. I'm trying to give y'all, some very detailed explanations as to why I'm selecting these players, why I'm selecting them. With the 9th pick, y'all, we have the Toronto Raptors on the clock. Hey, shout out We the North, baby. And the Raptors are going to be a fun team to watch next season, because they traded for Brandon Ingram back in February. They have Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, Jakob Poeltl, Scotty Barnes. And we still know that they have Grady Dick as well. So they have a good collection of young talent mixed in with a couple of veterans, in RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, and Brandon Ingram. So I like what they have, y'all, from really a team perspective. But the biggest hole on that team is their center spot. Listen, Jakob Poeltl, he's good, but he has his limitations, y'all. I mean, he's a solid scorer. He's a solid rebounder, but he's not anything spectacular. We definitely know he's not the best defender. He's not the best shot blocker. So I think this would be a perfect opportunity, y'all, for them to add Kaman Maluach, center out of Duke. Let me tell y'all something. I think this kid might have the highest upside of any player in this draft class, because he's 7'2". He has a 7'7" wingspan. He runs like a gazelle, y'all. I mean, this man can really, really run. He moves very well for a player his size. He's an incredible lob threat. He has great hands. He finishes well around the rim. He's a really good rebounder. He has phenomenal defensive instincts, y'all. But here's the thing about him. He's not just a rim runner. He's not just a lob threat, y'all, because we have seen this man in the gym working on this three-point shot. And let me tell y'all something. If he develops a decent three-point shot, he is going to be one of the best centers in the NBA. And again, when you look at the Toronto Raptors team, I like the Raptors. I really do. I know some people are high on the Raptors. I think they're going to be a pretty solid team next year, y'all. But they really have to add some more size to that center position, because when you look at the Eastern Conference, man, you got to go through the Boston Celtics, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Indiana Pacers. All those teams have size. They have really good front court players. The Toronto Raptors, they need to add to their front court. They need especially that center spot, y'all. So I think you add a guy like Kaman Maluach, he can be their center really for the next 10 to 12 years. I mean, I don't see how he will become a bust. Now, he might not be as good as I think he could be. It's really going to depend on, can he continue to develop his three-point shot. But even if he doesn't develop his three-point shot, he's going to be a really good player, because, again, his athleticism, his rim running ability, his defensive instincts, and his rebounding. So he has a really, really high ceiling, y'all, really high floor. So, yeah, I really like him going to the Toronto Raptors, y'all. And with the 10th pick, we have the Houston Rockets on the clock. Hey, shout out H-Town, y'all. And when you look at the Houston Rockets, we all know what they need is shooting. Right, they have great defense, they have great athleticism, they have some really solid playmakers on their team, but they need shooting, y'all. If they had better shooting on their team, they would have defeated the Golden State Warriors, because honestly, I think the Rockets are a better team than the Warriors. I really do. I think they're a better team than the Golden State Warriors, but I think their shooting held them back, y'all. And when I was doing this mock draft, I was like, wow, I can't believe this guy was still on the board. But Houston Rockets fans, y'all would be rejoicing if this guy's still on the board, because I have y'all selecting Con Knipple, shooting guard out of Duke, y'all. Con Knipple is one of the best shooters in this draft class. I mean, he is a deadly shooter. And he has really good size at the shooting guard position. And what's one thing that the Rockets really value, y'all, is size. I mean, they love having, these long athletic players that are versatile, that can play and guard multiple positions. I think you look at a guy like Con Knipple, he's not the best defender, but he plays with a lot of effort. And that's the biggest thing about him, y'all, because even though he doesn't have great defensive instincts, even though he isn't the fastest guy, he plays with a ton of effort defensively. And I think you get them down there with the Houston Rockets, y'all, a team that is established by that has a defensive type identity, a team that really loves and takes pride in playing defense. He can become a better defender, but he immediately, day one, y'all, would be the best shooter on that team. Let's be honest, because the Rockets don't have a ton of really good shooters on that team. So Con Knipple, day one, would be the best shooter on that team, and he would be able to provide them, y'all, with a lot of three-point shooting, which is what this team desperately needs. So this is an easy pick. If he's there, I mean, the Rockets don't even need to think twice about it. Select Con Knipple, because that's what they need. They need some more shooting. and he's one of the best shooters in this draft class, y'all. With the 11th pick, the Portland Trailblazers on the clock. And, man, shout out to Chauncey Billups, the job that he did this year. The Trailblazers won 36 games this year, y'all. I mean, let's be honest. That team, they overachieved. I thought they were going to win probably about 20 to 25 games. They actually almost made the play-in tournament. They were just a couple of games shy of making it from the play-in tournament. So, shout out to the job that Chauncey Billups has done with that young team. And they have a lot of young, intriguing pieces, man. I mean, Danny Avdia, DeAndre Ayton, obviously Scoot Henderson, Shaedon Sharpe. So they have some young, intriguing players. They really need one of those guys to become like a star/superstar player for them. They also drafted Donovan Klinger last year. So, yeah, they have a nice collection of young players, y'all. But I think the power forward spot is what they're really lacking in, because they have, some nice, intriguing young guards. Again, Scoot Henderson, Shaedon Sharpe, Anthony Simons. You look at the center spot, you got DeAndre Ayton, Rob Williams, Donovan Klinger. You look at the small forward spot, you got Danny Avdia, and you also have Delano Banton. But then, y'all, when you look at that power forward spot, you're like, we got Jeremy Grant. And Jeremy Grant, he's solid, but he's getting older. He's, not the best defender. He's not the most athletic guy like he used to be in his younger days. This, y'all, would be the perfect scenario for the Portland Trailblazers. Is this guy still on the board? And that guy, y'all, is Colin Murray-Boyles, forward out of South Carolina, man. I really like this kid a lot. And I know some of y'all probably going to say, Zay, he's not a good three-point shooter, man. His shot mechanics look awful. And I agree with y'all. But outside of shooting, I think he does dang near everything else, y'all, at a high level. I mean, he's one of the best perimeter defenders in this draft class. I mean, he is an elite perimeter defender, just a lockdown guy. He's one of those guys, y'all, that if you're going up against a team that, say, has a really good shooter or a really good scorer, he's the guy that can completely lock him down. And I think that's what the Portland Trailblazers need. They need some more defense and athleticism in this front court, man. He's a great rim runner, y'all. He plays with tremendous effort and energy. He's also a really good rebounder. And I think he's a better passer than what people give him credit for. So I think he would fit really well with this Portland Trailblazers team, y'all. And I'm telling you, man, if the Trailblazers are able to get Colin Murray-Boyles, man, this team is going to look pretty solid. I mean, again, you got some young pieces already at the guard and center spot. Now you just need to add some more players to that power forward spot, man. He would be a really good fit for them. Again, I know he's not the best shooter, and he's also undersized at the power forward spot. He's only 6'7", but y'all forget about that, man. Just turn on the tape with this kid. You're really going to fall in love with him just because of everything else that he possesses. So, yeah, this would be a really good pick for the Trailblazers, y'all. With the 12th pick, we have the Chicago Bulls on the clock. And let me tell y'all something. I don't know why the Bulls continue to do what they do every single year, which is just be an average team. I think at some point, y'all, they just need to tear this thing down and in a rebuild mode. But they refuse to do that. Their owner, Jerry Reinsdorf, hey, all he cares about is selling tickets. That's it. He's really not trying to compete for a championship. All he wants to do is sell tickets. So I feel bad for y'all Bulls fans, because you're really not going to have a chance to see your team compete for a championship or even really compete for a playoff spot, because every single year, they're going to just be an average team. And in the NBA, y'all, you either want to be competing or you want to be tanking. You don't want to be in the middle. And you look at the Chicago Bulls, they're in the middle right now. So this sucks for them, man. They would have loved to have probably had a top 5 pick, top 3 pick, but instead here they are pick 12. And because they're here, y'all, I think they need to select a guy that might be a little raw right now, but that has a really, really high ceiling. So this is probably going to surprise a lot of y'all. But, did I click on something wrong? Hold up, y'all. Let's go back. Sorry about that. Y'all clicked on the wrong thing. Should be able to get back to it. Okay, there we go. Boom. Yeah. Let's just make sure it's good. Let's see. It's good. Okay. Good. Okay, y'all. But I have them selecting Carter Bryant, small forward out of Arizona. And I know what y'all are probably saying. Zay, he only averaged 6 points. He's not a good shot creator. He's very raw. But, y'all, he has the potential to be the best 3-and-D player in this draft class. And we know 3-and-D players are very, very, very important in the NBA. And again, if you're a team like the Chicago Bulls, man, you need to take a player that has a tremendously high upside, because you're hoping, right, for the Bulls, if they were to select Carter Bryant, you're hoping that he could turn into a superstar for you. That's what you're hoping. right? I don't think the Chicago Bulls should take a player that's kind of reached his ceiling. I don't think they should do that, y'all. They need to take a player that has untapped potential, that's a little bit raw. But if they're able to develop Carter Bryant, I'm telling y'all, he can be the best 3-and-D player in this league. He can probably be like an 18 to 20-point scorer while playing really elite defense and shooting the three ball at a supremely high level. Right? He shot 37% from three this past season for Arizona. Now, he didn't have a lot of attempts, which is okay. Because I don't necessarily think y'all attempts matter. I think what really matters is the percentage that you're shooting them in and your shooting touch. And when you look at his shooting touch, man, I mean, his mechanics are really nice. He has really good arc on his shots. So I'm telling y'all, Carter Bryant, if he's here, the Chicago Bulls need to select him. I really believe that. They need to take a guy that has a high ceiling, that has a high ceiling, not a high floor. That's not what they need, y'all. High ceiling for the Bulls, not high floor. Because if you take a guy that has a high floor but doesn't have a high ceiling, well, he's reached his potential. And he's probably not going to become a star for you. But if you're taking a player that you feel like, hey, if we develop this kid, he can become a really good player for us one day, that's what you should do. So that's why I had to select it. I know it's going to be a little kind of controversial, y'all, but hey, I had to select Carter Bryant. With the 13th pick, we have the Atlanta Hawks on the clock, man. Shout out ATL. Shout out all my Hawks fans in here. I know y'all disappointed the way your season ended, but you had a 13th pick, man. There's some really good players left on the board. And when I look at the Hawks, man, I like the makeup of this roster, y'all, because they have a plethora of young, athletic wings who can really play defense. You got Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, Zachary Rizashea, and then at the center spot, you got Onyeka Okongwu. Right, and obviously you got Trae Young, one of the best playmakers, one of the best point guards in the NBA. He's running the show. And then you have Karis LeVert coming off the bench for you, and you also got Georges Niang as well. So this is not a bad roster, y'all. Again, have a lot of defense, athleticism, and some shooting on their team. But I think they really need to add a big man because right now, Onyeka Okongwu is the only center that they have under contract. Clint Capella is a free agent. And I just think at this point, it's probably time for the Hawks to move on from Clint Capella. I mean, I know he's been on their roster the past 6 years, but, he's 31 years old. And this past season, he really didn't look like the old Clint Capella, y'all. He looked like an old Clint Capella. That's what he looked like because he didn't move well. He wasn't blocking the shots that he used to. He wasn't playing the defense that he used to as well. So I think it's time for them to go in a different direction. So this is probably going to be another surprise pick for y'all, but it's okay because I have the Hawks selecting Thomas Sorber, center out of Georgetown, y'all. You're talking about a guy that's about 6'9" at the center position. So I know he's undersized, but hey, it's okay because Onyeka Okongwu, he's undersized, and he's a really good player. But Thomas Sorber, y'all, he's only 6'9", but he has about a 7'6" wingspan. Think about that, y'all. A player that's only 6'9", but has a 7'6" wingspan. So he has incredibly long arms. He's a tremendous athlete, y'all. He is a really good passer for a center. I mean, he made a lot of really good passes and assists this past season to his teammates at Georgetown, which really surprised me because I didn't know he had it in this game. And yes, he's not a good shooter. He shot only 16% from three, but he did shoot about 72.5% from the free throw line, y'all, which would indicate that he has some decent shooting touch. But I think he would be the perfect center to pair with Onyeka Okongwu, and he will also give y'all Trae Young another lob threat. And we know when you have a point guard like Trae Young, who's just a phenomenal passer, you can never have enough lob threats on your team. You can never have enough guys that are just athletic that can get out and transition and run. And Thomas Sorber, y'all, he can do that. So again, for some people, y'all might say this is too early for him, but hey, I like Thomas Sorber right here. I think he is going to be a lottery pick, y'all. I know he dealt with a foot injury this past season, but I mean, when he was healthy, my goodness, he was one of the best centers in college basketball because he has a tremendously well-rounded game, and I think he would be a really good fit for what the Hawks are doing. With the 14th pick, y'all, we have the San Antonio Spurs on the clock, and with the second pick, the Spurs' first pick that they had, we had them selecting Dylan Harper. And I spoke on how they had a logjam at the guard position. So I know there's some really good guards still sitting on the board, like Walter Clayton Jr. and Jace Richardson. But y'all, I'm not going to have them go that route. Okay, they have enough guards on this team already. And then we had to select Dylan Harper. So they need to find a player, y'all, that's a really good 3-and-D player. I think that's what they need. They need to find a good 3-and-D player to put next to Victor Wembanyama because Jeremy Sohan has just not turned into the player they thought he could be. I mean, he's just still a poor shooter. He is. Like, he's a good rebounder. He's a pretty good defender. He's athletic. but his shooting is just so bad, y'all, that he can become unplayable at times. And the Spurs, excuse me, need almost had the Sixers and the Spurs need to find a really good stretch forward to pair with Victor Wembanyama. So, like I said with my last two picks, y'all, this is probably going to surprise y'all. But I'm really high on this kid. I think he should be a lottery pick as well. Like I said about Thomas Sorber, y'all, I had him selecting Rasheer Fleming, power forward out of St. Joe's. I'm telling y'all, this kid is one of the better 3-and-D players in this draft. He is 6'9", y'all, with a 7'5" wingspan. I mean, this dude is tremendously long. He's athletic. He is one of the better perimeter defenders in this draft class. And y'all, he can knock down threes, man. He shot 39% from three this past season. And when you look at the San Antonio Spurs, I just think he would be a great fit next to Victor Wembanyama. But then he would be a really great fit for the entire team because they definitely need shooting, y'all. I mean, you look at the Spurs right now, they don't have a lot of knockdown shooters on their team. The best shooter on their team is probably Devin Vassell. He's a good shooter, but I think Rasheer Fleming can be an even better shooter than what Devin Vassell is. And yeah, I'm really high on this kid, y'all. I think he's one of those guys that right now he's probably projected to go like in the 20s, maybe late teens, potentially like late teens, early 20s. But I think he's gonna end up being a lottery pick, y'all. I really do, because of his size, his wingspan, his versatility, his defense, and his shooting. I think teams are really going to cover that. So yeah, I like Rasheer Fleming going to the San Antonio Spurs. And that concludes the lottery, y'all. So now with the 15th pick, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder on the clock. And we know the Oklahoma City Thunder have the best depth in the NBA. I mean, they have a tremendously deep roster. They have zero weaknesses on their team, y'all. So they can afford to take a player that has a high ceiling, because I'm going to tell y'all this. I don't care who the Thunder select with this 15th pick. He's probably not going to crack their rotation next season. So it really doesn't matter. They could take a guy that's a little bit raw but has a very high ceiling. And y'all, with that being said, let me find his name because I know he's a little bit lower on the board. I had them taking Noah Essingay, small forward out of France. And I know, y'all, again, he's not going to play for them next season. It's fine. I mean, the Thunder, they don't need him to play because they have a very deep roster. But maybe in 2 or 3 years, when they develop him a little bit more, he can become a very good role player for them, because, I mean, he has really good size, being about 6'9". I know it has him listed at 6'8", but I think when he got measured today, the combine, he came out at 6'9". So he's 6'9". He has a good length to him. He's developing as a shooter. I think he has good mechanics, but he's just not able to get those threes to fall in right now. But he's a guy, y'all, that's going to just be that prototypical 3-and-D small forward. And, again, like I said about Rasheer Fleming, you can never have enough of those guys. So, yeah, I think – and the Thunder, they are really great at developing their players. So, I think if Noah Essingay is still here for them, they probably will select him. I thought about potentially taking Liam McNeely, but I don't think he would be a good fit for what the Thunder do. I like Liam McNeely. I just don't know if I like him going to the Thunder. So I was like, no, I'm going to have them taking Noah Essingay, a guy that, again, has a tremendous ceiling. And we know, y'all, that the Thunder, they really love these international players. I mean, they selected a plethora of them the last 3 to 4 years. So I think Noah Essingay could be the next international player that they do select. With the 16th pick, y'all, we have the Orlando Magic on the clock. And we all know what the Magic need, y'all. I've said this about the Spurs as well, but we know what the Magic need. They need shooting. Shooting. They have tremendous size, length, athleticism, defense, toughness. They need shooting, y'all, period. And I'm not even sure if the Magic would select this guy if he's on the board. But, hey, this is Zay's mock draft. This is my mock draft. So in my mock draft, y'all, I had them selecting Jace Richardson. If that name sounds familiar to y'all, it's because he is the son of NBA legend Jason Richardson. We know his father is one of the best dunkers in NBA history. But let me tell y'all something. Jace, he's not the dunker that his father is, y'all, but he's a really good shooter. He's a solid ball handler. Now, he does need to improve his passing ability, and that can maybe scare off some teams, because even though he's, undersized, he's only about 6'2", 6'3". I really think his best position is the shooting guard, y'all. I don't think he could be a lead ball handler for a team. And again, that could scare some teams away, because you think of a guy his size, you would think he would be like a point guard. You would think he would be a lead initiator for your team. But I just don't see that in his game. But what I do see, y'all, is a guy that can score a lot of buckets, that can be like a bench scorer. Like, he might not ever be a high-level starter in the NBA, but I think he could play about 20 to 25 minutes off the bench, come in and provide some really good shooting, some really good scoring, and some good shot creation. And y'all, that is what this Magic team need, man. We know, again, they have really good size, and I know they value that. Like the Magic, they love players that have size, athleticism, versatility. And those are three things that Jace Richardson does not have. So they select him. I would honestly be surprised because that is not their philosophy, y'all. They don't like taking short players. They just don't. They don't like taking short players that cannot play defense. They like taking long, athletic players that can defend multiple positions, that can play multiple positions. But hey, I think they need to go off script, y'all, because this team just needs shooting. That's what they need. So I had to select Jace Richardson with this pick, y'all. With this 17th pick, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves on the clock, and the Minnesota Timberwolves, it looks like, y'all, they are about to defeat the Golden State Warriors, as they are currently up 3-1. But with this pick, y'all, I'm looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves roster right now, and I think their two biggest weaknesses is shot creation and positional versatility. I think outside of Anthony Edwards, they don't have a lot of shot creation on this team. I also think, y'all, they don't have a lot of positional versatility. What I mean by that is, y'all, they don't have a lot of players right on their team that can play and guard multiple positions. And in today's NBA, that is very important. I don't think they have a lot of players that can do that, right? Rudy Gobert, he's strictly a center. Julius Randle, he's strictly a power forward, right? Mike Conley, he's strictly a point guard. So they need to get bigger, they need to get more athletic, and they need to get more versatile on their team, y'all. So with that being said, I had them selecting. It's probably gonna take me a minute to find this guy. Considering, oh no, here he goes, y'all. I had them selecting Nick Clifford, shooting guard out of Colorado State. And let me tell y'all something about Nick Clifford, man. This dude is going to be a really good NBA player. And I know y'all probably think, Zay, how can you say that? I'm telling y'all, he is going to be a really good NBA player, because when you look at the skill set that he possesses, he has everything you would want, like a big shooting guard, small forward, to have. I mean, he's a good shooter. He's a really good attacker. He's a good defender. He's a great rebounder. I mean, a great rebounder. Y'all see it on screen. He averages almost 10 rebounds per game. And when you actually look beyond his stats, y'all, I mean, he has tremendous athleticism. He can really jump out of the gym, which allows him to get so many of these rebounds. He can bang down there with the centers. And I just think the Minnesota Timberwolves are probably going to lose Nickeil Alexander-Walker in free agency. So they get a guy, y'all, and Nick Clifford, that I think is actually better than Nickeil Alexander-Walker because, again, of the things I just listed that he possesses. Again, rebounding, his shooting, his playmaking as well, because he's a better playmaker than what people give him credit for. And, yeah, I just like him a lot, man. I would be shocked, y'all, if he fell to, like, in the 20 range. I know that's what some people think he's going to be, like, in that 20 to 25 range, but I think he's going inside the top 20. And I think the Minnesota Timberwolves will be ecstatic to get him because, yeah, he just has a well-rounded game. And sometimes, y'all, it's okay to take the player that has a well-rounded game. I know we love guys that have, like, things that just, like, are elite about them. And I don't think Nick Clifford, like, possesses any skill set that's elite, but I just think he has a really good, well-rounded game. And that's why I think he would be a really good fit for the Minnesota Timberwolves, y'all. With the 18th pick, and I hope I'm not going too fast. With the 18th pick, we have the Washington Wizards back on the clock. With their first pick, we had them selecting Kasparas Yakusonis, guard out of Illinois. And now when I look at this Mystics, I'm thinking about the WNBA. Lord have mercy. When I take up this Wizards team, we added Kasparas, right? So now they have Kasparas, they have Jordan Poole, they still have Marcus Smart, so they're good at the guard position. You still have Chris Middleton, even though he might not be back, but you still have him on the roster right now. You have Keyshawn George as well. But I'm looking at that center spot, y'all, because they have Alex Sarr, but we know Alex Sarr, he can play power forward and center. But I think they need to pair him up with a guy, y'all, that is super athletic, that's a great rebounder, because we know Alex Sarr is not the best rebounder. So I think it would be nice for them to pair him with somebody that's athletic and they can really rebound. And I have them selecting, y'all, Asa Newell, power forward out of Georgia. Now, I know, like some other players in this draft class, Asa Newell is he's a really bad three-point shooter. And I don't even know if he can ever develop into a decent three-point shooter. That's why I have him following the pick 18. I know some people think he's a top 10 player in this draft class, y'all. I don't feel that same way because, man, his shooting is just horrific. But I think at pick 18, he would be a good fit for the Wizards because why? Alex Sarr is a solid three-point shooter. He can stretch the floor. So they would be able to kind of feed off one another. You have Asa Newell, a guy that's very athletic, that's a good rebounder. He's willing to do the dirty work. He wants to bang inside with the power forwards and centers. And then you have a guy like Alex Sarr, y'all. He wants to do his work, what? On the perimeter. So he wants to shoot threes. He wants to play, on the outside. He doesn't really want to bang down there with the centers because he's not the biggest guy. He's not the most physical guy. So I think they would just be a really good pair for one another. Y'all just really go well together. I mean, they really would because they bring, different things to the table. So yeah, I like Asa Newell going to the Washington Wizards. With the 19th pick, y'all, we have the Brooklyn Nets on the clock. And with their first pick, I had them selecting Derek Queen. So now we have Derek Queen and Nick Claxton in the front court. Now, y'all, let's go get us a lead ball handler, a guy that can become our point guard of the future. And let me tell y'all this guy that I had him selecting, he is still kind of raw. He's probably going to take maybe 2 to 3 years to develop. But if the Brooklyn Nets are able to develop this kid, he can become a really good point guard for them. Kind of big point guard, I should say, like a big jumbo guard for them, y'all. I had them taking Yegor Demon, shooting guard / point guard out of BYU. And this is a guy, y'all, he is one of the most interesting players in this draft class because he's 6'9". He can handle the ball. He's not the most athletic. He's slow on his feet. He's not the best defender, and he's not the best shooter. So when y'all hear me say that, you're probably thinking, dang, Zay, why are you selecting him? Well, y'all, it really is because of his height and because of his playmaking ability. When you have a guy that is this tall and has the playmaking ability that he has, teams are going to covet that. Kind of similar to how the Oklahoma City Thunder selected Josh Giddey back in 2022. And a lot of people are like, well, why would they select Josh Giddey that high? Guy that's a non-shooter, that's not the best defender. He's definitely not athletic. But, y'all, he was a jumbo guard. And Yegor Demon, he's a jumbo guard, 6'9". And teams love that, y'all. So imagine having a 6'9" point guard out there. Heck, some centers are 6'9". So if your point guard is 6'9", yeah, you're really going to have a big advantage on your opponents. So that's why I have the Brooklyn Nets selecting him, y'all. Could he become a really good player? Absolutely. Right now, he's really just a good passer, a good playmaker. He's not even the best rebounder right now, which is kind of surprising because you would think, given his size, he would be a better rebounder, but he isn't. So right now, y'all, really, I mean, his greatest strength is his size, right? And his playmaking too, but it's really his size. Because if he was like 6 foot, say 3 or 4, teams wouldn't really cover him the way they do because he's 6'9". So that's why I had the Brooklyn Nets select him. I'm not saying I don't like him as a player, but he definitely has some development that needs to be done within his game. He needs to become a more well-rounded player and not just using his size. Because we know in the NBA, y'all, I mean, there's a bunch of tall dudes. There's a bunch of athletic dudes. You cannot just rely on that, man. You got to have some skills to your game. But if the Brooklyn Nets are able to develop him, he can become a solid guard for them, y'all. With the 20th pick, we had the Miami Heat on the clock, and whoo, boy, what a bad end to the season for the Miami Heat. I mean, just getting destroyed by the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round, getting swept in that first round against them. And, man, Pat Riley, he is one of the greatest executives in NBA history, y'all, but I think his age is starting to show. And I love Pat Riley. I really do. But his age is starting to show. I think the game might have passed him by because when you look at this Heat roster right now, y'all, I mean, I think this is one of the worst rosters in the NBA, seriously. Obviously, Bam and Tyler Hero, they're great. Andrew Wiggins, he's solid. He has his moments where he plays well, but then he has his moments where he doesn't play well. I really like Davion Mitchell, and I hope they re-sign him, but this team just doesn't have a lot going for them. Oh, and I also like Khalil Ware, who they drafted last year, center out of Indiana. He had a really good rookie season for them, but outside of those players, y'all, I just listed, they don't have a lot going for themselves, particularly in the backcourt, though, y'all. I mean, I think the Heat need a lot of work in that backcourt. I think they need some more defense in their backcourt. They still got Terry Rozier on the roster, and my goodness, I really hope that they can get out of that Terry Rozier contract because he probably has one of the worst contracts in the NBA, considering that he really doesn't do anything with scoring. He's not even the best scorer. So, yeah, they need to add some more defense to their backcourt, y'all, and also add some athleticism to that backcourt, and that's what I have them doing. I have the Miami Heat selecting Nolan Traore, point guard out of France, y'all. And we know the Miami Heat, they notoriously have loved these foreign players. I mean, they really have. They've also, y'all, have loved these guys that have a little bit of swagger to their game, so to speak. And when you look at Nolan Traore, he has a very unconventional game than a lot of players do. I mean, he really does. He plays at his own pace. He isn't the best shooter, which is kind of surprising because I actually think he has good shooting touch, but he's a big point guard. He's a really good playmaker. He can really finish and get to the rim. But yeah, he kind of plays at his own pace. He honestly reminds me, y'all, of Goran Dragic, which is funny because we remember Goran Dragic played for the Miami Heat for about 6 years. That's who he reminds me of. And Goran Dragic, he's from France as well. But that's really who Nolan Traore reminds me of. Like, again, he plays at his own place, but he also has some swagger to his game because he makes those flashy passes the same way Goran Dragic used to do. He can put that ball behind his back and cross you up the same way Goran Dragic used to do. And I think the Miami Heat, y'all, they're going to see a lot of Goran Dragic and Nolan Traore. So, yeah, I think this would be a really good pick for them. And I think he would be a really good fit alongside Tyler Hero. Again, no Traore, he isn't the best shooter. He isn't the best scorer. And he's probably never going to be a really good shooter or a great scorer. But that's really not what the Heat need, man. They need defense. They need some playmaking in their backcourt. They just need a guy that's going to be a professional for them, y'all, at that point guard position. I think that's what Nolan Traore would be. So I like this pick for them. With the 21st pick, we had the Utah Jazz on the clock. And with the Jazz's first pick at pick 5, y'all, we had them selecting Trey Johnson, shooting guard out of Texas. And now with the 21st pick, y'all, I finally have Liam McNeely coming off the board, small forward out of UConn. And listen, I like Liam McNeely. Now, I don't like him as much as some people do because I think he is a very inefficient player. But I like his defense. I like his rebounding. I like his hustle. I like his effort. And I really, most importantly, y'all, like his shooting. He is a really good shooter when he's open. When he's open. Now, he's not a good shot creator. I will just tell you that right now. Liam McNeely is not a good shot creator. And he probably will never be because he just lacks kind of the handles that it takes to be a good shot creator. But what he would provide for the Jazz and for any team in the NBA is shooting, is good size, is versatility, and defense. And you can always use players like that. So I think he would be a solid pick for the Jazz. Now, some Jazz fans might not like this pick. You might want the Jazz to take, a player that has a little bit higher ceiling. But I think Liam McNeely, he has a high floor. I don't see him being a bust. I just don't think he's going to be any better than what he is right now. And that's why I wouldn't take him any higher than this year. I feel like 21 is like the perfect range for him. I think that 20 to 25 range is the perfect range for him. I know some people think he can go like top 15 or top 12. Yeah, I don't think he should go that high. But I think at 21, this is where about the range he should go. So I'm fine with taking Liam McNeely at this pick, at pick 21, y'all. Let me say one last thing about the Jazz, too. We know the Jazz, they really covet, these type of jumbo size small forwards that have good versatility, that can shoot the three and that can play some defense. They selected Taylor Hendricks, Kyle Filipowski. They have John Collins. So they have a bunch of guys on their team that's like 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", that can guard multiple positions, that can shoot a three ball, that are good athletes. So I think Liam McNeely would fit right in well with what they have going on. With the 22nd pick, y'all, the Atlanta Hawks are back on the clock. And with the 13th pick, which was their first pick, we had them selecting Tommy Sorber, center out of Georgetown. And so now, y'all, when I look at the Atlanta Hawks, I think they could use some more help in their backcourt, particularly at the shooting guard spot. I think they could use some additional defense. I know they have a lot of defense already, but you can never have enough defenders, especially when Trae Young is your best player, because we all know Trae Young, he's undersized. He's a very poor defender. So you got to make sure you surround him with a bunch of guys that can really play defense. And I think, y'all, this guy right here, not only can he play defense, but he can really shoot a three ball on a high level. I have them selecting Will Riley, shooting guard out of Illinois. And this is a guy, y'all, that I think could go higher than this. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Will Riley went maybe to pick 15 to the Thunder, or maybe pick 17 to the Minnesota Timberwolves, but I have him going 22nd to the Atlanta Hawks. You're looking at a guy, y'all, that's about 6'8". He has about a 7'1" wingspan. He shoots the three. He plays defense. And that's about it. But hey, that's fine because the Atlanta Hawks wouldn't really need him to do much. All they would need him to do is come into the game, hit about 2 or 3 threes and play some really lockdown defense and then go back, have a seat on the bench, and his day is done. That's really all they need, y'all. Yeah, that's all they need Will Riley to do. Now, I will say this. I think he has some untapped potential when it comes to his shot creation ability. Right now, he is really just a 3-and-D player, but he could, keyword, y'all, is could become a decent initiator of offense one day and a decent shot creator one day. Right now, he isn't. Okay, at least not on a consistent basis. We've seen flashes of Will Riley actually being, a solid shot creator, being able to create shots for himself and for his teammates, but it's not on a consistent level yet. But if he is ever able to become a consistent shot creator and initiator of the offense, now his ceiling is going to raise, y'all. And he's a guy that actually maybe could become an all-star caliber player because, with the way he shoots and plays defense, if he can become just a decent shot creator, yeah, Will Riley is going to be a really good player. But I think right now he's going to be a solid role player in the NBA. He's one of those guys, y'all, that's probably going to have like a 10 to 15-year career. And he's just going to be a really good role player. And again, the Atlanta Hawks, they need to continue to surround Trae Young with really good defenders and really good three-point shooters. And they will get the best of both worlds with Will Riley, y'all. With the 23rd pick, we have the Indiana Pacers on the clock, y'all. And it looks like the Indiana Pacers are about to lose this game right now to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They've actually made a comeback, y'all. The Pacers are up 69-65. Well, I didn't know that because at one point they were down by about 20 points. But anyways, I digress, y'all. The Indiana Pacers are on the clock. And when you look at the Pacers, man, they have a plethora, kind of similar to Atlanta Hawks, man. They got a plethora of wings. You have Andrew Nembhard, because I really consider Andrew Nembhard like a shooting guard and a small forward because I don't really think he's a point guard. But you got Andrew Nembhard. You got Aaron Nesmith. You got Jarris Walker. Obviously, you got Pascal Siakam. And then you have my man, Ben Mathurin. So they have a really good group of wings, y'all. But when you look at that front court, they're a little weak right now. Obviously, you have Miles Turner. You have Pascal Siakam. But outside of them, y'all, you don't have a ton of size, which is what they really need. Now, I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of surprised that they've had the success they've had against the Cleveland Cavaliers because we know the Cavs are a very big team. They run, the double center lineup with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. And when you look at the Indiana Pacers, y'all, they're kind of an undersized team. But don't fear, y'all, because I have the Pacers getting some more size. But it's not size in the front court, y'all. No, I'm not having them add some size in the front court because there's a guy, y'all, that's a sleeper that I think more people need to wake up on, and that man is Cedric Coward, shooting guard out of Washington State. Y'all see I kind of pivoted right there. Yeah, y'all thought I was going to have to take a center, and I definitely think they need to add some size at that center spot, y'all. But they would still add some size just to their team in general because Cedric Coward, he is 6'6". And let me tell y'all something, man. This kid can really, really play. He is going to be probably like a two-way shot creator in the NBA. What I mean by that is he's going to be a guy that plays great defense, that hits a bunch of threes, but that also is going to be able to create offense for himself and for his teammates. And also, y'all, he's a really good rebounder. So he's kind of the total package. And I don't know why people are kind of sleeping on this guy. Man, if y'all have not watched Cedric Coward play, please go watch this man play because I think he is one of the most well-rounded players in this draft class. I don't think he has any weaknesses to his game. And that's why I said he's probably going to be like a two-way shot creator at the next level. He's going to play great defense. He's going to hit threes, and he's going to initiate offense and create offense for himself and for his teammates. And I think he would be a great fit next to Tyrese Halliburton. That's really what I think, y'all. So, yeah, I know I said the Pacers need size, and they do at their center spot. But, hey, they still get some size with Cedric Coward because he is 6'6", which would be great for them. Because right now, even though they have a lot of, wings that I like, a lot of their wings, y'all, they're kind of undersized. I mean, Ben Mathurin is 6'5", Andrew Nembhard 6'5", Aaron Nesmith 6'5". So I think you had a guy in Cedric Coward. I know he's only 1 inch taller than him, y'all, but 1 inch taller than them. But I'm telling y'all that inch is going to make a huge difference in the NBA. So yeah, I like them taking him with the 23rd pick. Y'all, with the 24th pick, I can't believe we're almost done. I hope y'all been enjoying this because I know I certainly have. With the 24th pick, y'all, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder back on the clock. And I had them selected. I'm not even gonna take time wasting my time going into this, y'all, because I had them selecting Danny Wolf, center out of Michigan. And I would really love to see Danny Wolf get drafted by the Oklahoma City Thunder, because when you look at the Thunder, man, they love these players, y'all, that are obviously that are super versatile, but they also love players that are kind of unconventional. Because when you look at Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren, I mean, Chet Holmgren runs incredibly well for his size, but he's skinny for it like a power forward. And then you look at Isaiah Hartenstein, he's a guy that you wouldn't think would be a good ball handler, but he is. So they kind of love these players that are a little bit unconventional, that will surprise you. And when you look at Danny Wolf, y'all, he's one of those guys that really will surprise you when you watch him play, because you're like, man, how's this dude able to be as effective as he is? Because he's not the fastest, he's not the quickest, and he's definitely not the most athletic, but he's a very productive player, and he is a really good passer. And we've seen the impact that Isaiah Hartenstein has had this year on the Thunder, y'all, in terms of his playmaking and his passing ability. I mean, he is actually able to kind of initiate some of the offense for the Thunder, because he is a really solid playmaker at their center spot. And I think if they add Danny Wolf, man, he would just fit like a glove for that team, y'all. And when you look at the Thunder, man, they got some big decisions to make this offseason, because they're going to have to lock up Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren on new contracts. We know Shea, his contract is about to kick in. So, man, this team is going to get significantly more expensive than what they already are right now, y'all. So there might be, they might, I should say, have to trade Isaiah Hartenstein, because they're going to become a really expensive team. So if they have to do that, man, Danny Wolf, he can fit right into what they do. And again, he would be a really good fit for the Oklahoma City Thunder. With the 25th pick, the Orlando Magic are back on the clock, y'all. And as I said earlier, when I had them selecting Jace Richardson, the Magic need to continue to add shooting to their team. So I had them selecting another undersized guard, and I know some Magic fans might not like that, but I have the Magic. I almost said the Thunder, y'all. Excuse me. I have the Magic selecting Walter Clayton Jr., shooting guard out of Florida. And, man, Walter Clayton absolutely showed out during the NCAA tournament, y'all. I mean, yes, he's undersized, but he plays with his chip on his shoulder. I mean, this dude is very tough. He gives you everything that he has, and he is just a great shooter. He's also a solid passer, and he's one of those guys, I think you just want him on your team, because he is so tough for a guy his size. I mean, you would think you'd be able to bully him and overpower him, but y'all, that is not the case, man. Walter Clayton Jr., this dude is hard-nosed. He's very physical and tough. And I know the Orlando Magic, they value size and versatility and all that good stuff, but at the end of the day, they need to add more shooting to this team. So if they were able to come out of this draft, y'all, with Jace Richardson and Walter Clayton Jr., I think that would be amazing for them, because, Walter Clayton Jr. is an elite three-point shooter, and I would really like to see him go to the Orlando Magic, because, y'all, he would actually get a chance to play some really valuable minutes for them. I think if he was to go to a team like the Minnesota Timberwolves or like the Indiana Pacers or the Oklahoma City Thunder, teams that already have, some really good guards, I don't think he would get a lot of playing time. But when you look at the team like the Orlando Magic that really needs shooting on their team, with him being the shooter that he is, he will get a lot of playing time for them. So, I think this would be a really good pick for them. With the 26th pick, y'all, the Brooklyn Nets are back on the clock. And when I was looking at this pick, looking at the Brooklyn Nets roster, I was like, you know what? At this point in the draft, they just need to take a guy that has the highest upside, y'all. And I think that guy is Ben Serif, shooting guard out of Israel. Now, I'm not even sure when he might come over to the NBA. Like, it might be 2, 3, 4 years down the road, but it's fine, y'all, because, I mean, the Nets, they're still in rebuild mode. They don't need him to come in, day one and be a starter for them or anything like that. No, they can wait on him to come from overseas into the United States, and then, boom, he can be a productive player for them. He has good size at the shooting guard spot, pretty solid defender, definitely not the best shot creator. See, he's an okay shooter. This is really a projection pick, y'all. I mean, he doesn't really do anything right now at a high level or even at a solid level. But again, I mean, the Nets are in rebuild mode, and when you're a rebuilding team, you just still need to take dudes that have the highest ceiling. And I think at this point in the draft, Ben Serif has the highest ceiling, so that's why I had the Nets selecting him. With the 27th pick, y'all, the Brooklyn Nets are back, which is crazy, but they're back on the clock. and I had them selecting Adu Thero, small forward / power forward out of Arkansas. Here he goes, y'all. Adu Thero. And he's a guy that kind of reminds me of Ryan Dunn, who plays for the Phoenix Suns in the terms or in the fact that he's a really good athlete. He's a really good defender. He's a good rebounder, but he is a horrible, and I mean a horrible three-point shooter. And his mechanics look really bad. And that was the scouting report for Ryan Dunn last year. We knew Ryan Dunn, a really good defender, even better defender than Adu Thero, but he was a really good defender, really good rebounder, super athletic, but a bad shooter. And that's my man, Adu Thero, y'all. I mean, that's him in a nutshell. So, yeah, he's going to be Ryan Dunn, but he has the potential to maybe be better than Ryan Dunn, actually, because I think he actually has better finishing around the rim than Ryan Dunn has. Because really, Ryan Dunn, y'all, he relied on getting to the free throw line to score points, and then occasionally getting a couple of alley-oops. But we've seen Adu Thero actually run the fast break, get out in transition, put the ball on the floor, and be able to create offense for himself. Now, it's going to be harder for him to do that at the next level, considering that he's not a good three-point shooter, and teams are going to be able just to sag on him and make him beat them with his three-point shot, and he's unable to do that at this point. But he could come in, be a solid defender and athleticism, be a solid defender and provide athleticism to this Brooklyn Nets team. So, yeah, I like them selecting him with this pick. With the 28th pick, y'all, the Boston Celtics are on the clock. And we know the devastating news today for the Boston Celtics is that Jason Tatum tore his right Achilles tendon, y'all. So prayers up to Jason Tatum. Hopefully he comes back better and stronger than ever, y'all. But I don't have him taking the small forward with this pick because I look at this center spot, and we know that the Boston Celtics, they're going to make some tough decisions this offseason, y'all, because their roster is going to get really expensive. I said that the Thunder's roster is going to get really expensive, man. The Celtics roster is going to be even more expensive than the Oklahoma City Thunder because they're paying so many dudes like a lot of money. Drew Holiday, Derek White, Kristaps Porzingis, Jason Tatum, and Jaylen Brown. So they're going to make some difficult decisions, y'all. And I think there's a strong chance that Kristaps Porzingis will not be a Boston Celtics next year, and Al Horford is going to be 39. So they really need some help at that center spot, y'all. And this is going to be probably a controversial pick. I think I've said it about maybe 3 or 4 of my picks, but I think this might be the most controversial pick that I've made so far because this guy is not very high on a lot of draft boards, y'all, but I like him a lot. I have them selecting Maxime Reynard, center out of Stanford, y'all. And, man, let me tell you something about my man Max. He kind of plays like Kristaps Porzingis because he's a good shooter. Now, he's not the shooter that Kristaps Porzingis is, but he's a good shooter. He has good touch. He is a double-double machine, y'all. I mean, he is a guy that I can see even as a rookie averaging like 10 points and 10 rebounds. I mean, he is just a double-double machine. He's a really good rebounder. I think he has solid defensive instincts. And he fits like a glove of what the Celtics do because we know the Celtics, they run this 5-out offense, and they want all their players to be able to shoot the 3 ball. And Max, y'all, he can do that at a solid level like I just stated. So, yeah, I think he would be a good fit for the Celtics. You know, they can maybe take like a Rocco Zakarsky, but he's a big body, but I don't think he's the best fit for what they do. So that's why they have to selecting him. I know people are probably higher on Rocco than they are on Max, but I like Max better, y'all. So, yeah, I like him going to the Boston Celtics. All right, y'all, we only have 2 more picks left. So let's do this with the 29th pick. The Phoenix Suns are on the clock, y'all, and we know the Suns, I mean, they're in limbo right now, man. We don't know what's going to happen with KD and Devin Booker or Bradley Beal. They had a disappointing season. They didn't even make the play-in tournament, so changes are definitely on the way. And I think they could use a point guard, y'all, a guy that can be their initiator, a guy that can get Devin Booker, KD, and Bradley Beal, if they remain on the roster, a guy that can get them open looks and some easy shots, y'all. I had them selecting LeBaron Filan, point guard out of Alabama. Now, he definitely has like a small frame. He's only about 177 pounds, right, about 6'4". I actually think he might be closer to 6'2", what I was reading, but this has him listed at 6'4", so we're going to go with that. But, yeah, he's kind of undersized. He's not the biggest guy, not the most efficient player at this point, and he's never going to be a good defender because of his size. But he's a pretty crafty ball handler. He can get downhill. And I think, y'all, his biggest asset, though, is really going to be his athleticism and his shot creation ability. Is he the best passer? No, but he can definitely, hit the open man. But yeah, he can come in, just provide some instant offense for the Phoenix Suns. And then also, y'all, he could also just give them, again, some good playmaking ability. Tyus Jones is going to be a free agent, so LeBaron Filan could maybe even be their point guard day one. I don't think that would happen because, yeah, his defense is pretty bad right now. But, again, his shot creation, his playmaking, and his shooting, even though it needs improvement, it's on a pretty solid level right now, so he could definitely play day one. And I like the Suns potentially getting their point guard of the future in LeBaron Filan. And then, y'all, with the 30th and final pick, the LA Clippers are on the clock. And when I look at the Clippers team, man, I mean, they have Kawhi and James Harden and Norman Powell. Those guys are getting longer too, y'all. They're getting older. And we saw y'all, their first round series against the Denver Nuggets, they just ran out of gas. I mean, they really ran out of gas. And they could use some more shooting and shot creation on this team. So I have them selecting y'all. And this guy, I think, is really flying under the radar, but I think he should definitely be a first round pick. I had him selecting Cam Jones, shooting guard out of Marquette, y'all. And he's an older player, right? He's already 22 years old, but he could play right away, y'all. And that's what the Clippers need because they're still going to be a competitive team next year. I mean, again, having Kawhi and James Harden and Norman Powell and Ivica Zubac and Derrick Jones Jr. and Chris Dunn, they're going to be a competitive team next year. So they need a guy that can come in and, provide them with instant offense right away. And that's what they need, y'all, because, yeah, they ran out of gas against the Nuggets. They didn't have a lot of shooters and shot creators out there on their court outside of James Harden and Kawhi. We know James Harden stunk it up in Game 7, only scoring 7 points. So they could use a guy like Cam Jones, y'all, who's one of the best scorers, one of the best shot creators in this draft class. And he is a really good playmaker as well, man. So he kind of reminds me of James Harden in a way, y'all. I mean, he's a good scorer and he's a good playmaker and he's a solid defender. So he's kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. I don't think he has any particular skill set in his game that really stands out, but he does a lot of things at a really high level. And again, y'all, that's what the Clippers need. They need a guy that can play day one. And Cam Jones, I think, is probably the most underrated player in this draft class. A lot of people think he's going to go in the second round, but I have him going in the first round, y'all. And I think not only him going in the first round would be great for him, but going to a team like the Clippers that actually could really use his skill set would be great for him. So, yeah, this would be great for Cam Jones to get selected in the first round, to go to a team like the Clippers. And for the Clippers, again, they could definitely use his shot creation, his scoring, and his playmaking ability to their team, y'all. So there y'all have it. That was my first 2025 NBA mock draft, man. I hope y'all enjoyed this. I will probably do 2 or 3 more mock drafts before the draft next month, y'all. So, yeah. Also, I'm thinking about, maybe even doing a watch party for the NBA draft. So, I'll let y'all know if I decide to do that. But I think that would be a really fun idea to do that. Speaking of watch party, y'all, on Thursday, I will be doing a watch party for the Big 3 draft. Y'all remember we did that last year. Y'all really loved it. I really loved it. So, yes, I will be doing another watch party for the Big 3 draft, y'all. I will post the details in the community tab probably on tomorrow. And then speaking on tomorrow, y'all, and I will definitely post this probably tonight, but on tomorrow, we will be having some WNBA talk, y'all. Just going over the upcoming season, giving my predictions for the upcoming season. So I'll probably give y'all my finals winner, finals MVP, rookie of the year, defensive player of the year, coach of the year, all that good stuff, y'all. I probably will go over the playoff bracket and do all that stuff with y'all on tomorrow. So yes, tomorrow we will have a WNBA just discussion show, whatever you want to call it. But yes, we want to have some WNBA discussion, y'all, because the season is starting on Friday. And as y'all know, I don't just support the NBA and the NFL, but I also support my women as well, because those girls, they do those things. Those young women, they do their thing. They're tremendous players. So as a man, I'm going to show them some love because, man, they are some really phenomenal players. And I cannot wait for the season to start on Friday. But, yeah, y'all, tomorrow, WNBA talk. Thursday, we have a Big 3 watch party. So, yeah, just look out for that, y'all. So, really some couple exciting days ahead for us. Again, I hope y'all enjoyed this, man. This is my first 2025 NBA mock draft. Remember, y'all, laughter is good medicine. So what? Make sure you get your daily dose. Y'all know I'm going to end this, man. I love y'all. God bless. Peace.